Nazi Germany was steadily growing in numbers and power. They played a mental and physical game, controlling the citizens with fear and physical torture. With the nation's strength behind him, Hitler had one main target, and it was the Jews. Concentration, labor, and death camps were all ways to wipe out Germany's main threat to a perfect society. Jews were taken from their homes to these camps and killing centers, where they were murdered in mass numbers.
In 1943, Jews on the verge of death who were living in Mauthausen began to develop resistance networks between prisoners of similar nationalities. They began arming themselves with stolen weapons from the camp's arsenal. The prisoners began hoarding food to help other prisoners who were starving, and some even hid others to keep them from the constant abuse of the kapos. Alongside the Jews, Soviet prisoners of war were kept under the harsh treatment of the Mauthausen guards. 400 Soviet prisoners managed to escape the Mauthausen gates but were all recaptured or killed February of 1945. Resistance grew when several hundred women refused to move camps as the Allies drew near. This was one of the only instances where mass refusal actually worked.
In the heat of World War II, Germany invaded neighboring countries and set up concentration camps and killing centers. Poland was an easy target for Germany, and that was where two notorious killing centers lay. Treblinka and Siberia were both built to exterminate Jews, and this was where Jewish arms took up against German soldiers. In 1943, SS guards killed the Jewish rebels. However, a small number were still able to escape the war and live in hiding. More Jewish resistance ensued at one of the largest concentration camps, Auschwitz-Birkenau. In 1944, Jews rose up against the SS guards, resulting in nearly 250 Jews dying, and more than 200 later that week. People were conspiring with the Jews, rooting for the demise of the German rule. 5 women were found to have supplied Jews with explosives for bombing the crematoriums and were shot later for their insurgence.
In Buchenwald, the prisoners were subjected to medical experiments in order to find cures for typhoid, cholera, and homosexuality. These cruel experiments resulted in hundreds of deaths. Jews resisted German control at the Buchenwald camp. In 1945, prisoners stormed watchtowers and managed to take control of the camp. The Jews had seized control from Buchenwald from Nazi clutches when U.S. soldiers liberated the camp and ensured safety for the 21,000 emaciated German soldiers.
To hide evidence of the camps, German soldiers would burn crematoriums, but gas chambers were left in a hasty getaway. Death marches were one of Germany's last resolves to keep their grip on Jewish prisoners. Emaciated prisoners from Auschwitz were forced on a death march through Western Germany as Soviet soldiers liberated the camp. The Soviets were still able to save 6,000 prisoners in 1945. The liberation of German camps was one of the last events of the war before Germany surrendered, declaring World War II over.